Is your routine becoming a rut? Today, we are going to explore how to know if your routine has kind of gone sideways and become a rut, and then how to get yourself out of it. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Jen Tarrant, and this is Iridescent Dragonflies, where we talk about all things mind, body, and balance. I'm super glad you're here. If you would like and subscribe to this video, that will help get the word out to other people who are also looking for better balance in their life. Mental balance, physical balance, energetic balance, and emotional balance. We talk about all of them right here using the wisdom of yoga and Ayurveda. First off, I want to talk about how do you know if your routine has become a rut? Because routines are awesome, right? We talk about them all the time. I've talked about it several times right here on this channel. To establish a routine, to bring about a sense of predictability in the best way, and a sense of knowing what to expect and how to start off every day where you know you're going to feel your best. But sometimes we find ourselves getting to those routines and it comes around and we're like, yeah, right? I don't want to, or somehow it's not bringing me the joy it used to. And so let's talk about some ways we can know when that routine has sort of crossed over into becoming a rut. The first one is you just don't enjoy it anymore. You think about starting a routine and all of a sudden you get that meh feeling, or you find yourself uninspired to get started. And then to sort of compound the problem, because it's a routine you set, you don't really want to not do it either because, well, I know I put this routine in place for a reason. I want to feel better. I want to start my day with meditation or exercise or, a great healthy breakfast, or I want to segue from my work day into my home life in a similar sort of way, maybe with some time that's quiet or walk in nature or exercise, hitting the gym, something like that. And for some reason, it's just not working anymore. And so, what to do? Maybe time for a change. Another way you can know is if you feel more exhausted than energized by the routine. So maybe you start off on this routine, whether it's a morning routine, an end of the workday, or end of the day routine. Maybe even it's sort of like elements that fit into your weekly calendar. And you start to realize that every time you start to think about or do that routine element, you feel like, oh my gosh, this is just exhausting. I don't want to do this. And if that happens, you feel exhausted rather than energized, maybe time for a change. And another way is if you notice you're starting to withdraw. And that can look a lot of different ways. Maybe you start saying no to some social events, or things that you used to really enjoy, taking the dog for a walk or meeting up with a friend after work on a certain day of the week. You just don't want to do it anymore. It could get even worse. Maybe you find yourself sitting in bed, scrolling social media for hours on end, or sitting on the couch, just letting the TV play whatever it wants. You don't even care, and you're eating cereal out of the box. Am I right? Then probably it's time for a change somewhere, right? Because we know when our behavior gets like that, it's not optimal. Now let's talk about some ways to regroup. First thing, start with one small change. Probably if we are feeling like our routine has become a rut, we do not have all this energy to overhaul everything in our life. That is not going to be successful. In fact, it will probably make us feel worse and like we're failing because we're not being successful. And so we want to start with one small change that we can feel good about and enjoy and build from there. We also want to be patient with this process. As we move through this, those new routines or new elements to our routine don't always take hold like the second we change them, right? It takes a little while for something to feel routine. Obviously, it can take 3 weeks at least for a lot of us. It can take 6 weeks sometimes for those things to feel really comfortable. It takes time, and we want to be patient with the process. Next up, get curious. I love this part because this is where it gets really fun. This is where we find our motivation to bring something new into our life. Because if I think, oh, I should probably change part of my routine, that's not going to get me anywhere. But if I'm like, the weather's really nice out, and I kind of always wanted to explore that new little nature trail that I just saw when I was driving by the other day and never knew it was there. I think I'm going to do that instead of my usual loop that I do every single morning and it feels monotonous. Or, maybe it's you want to start an herb garden. Something small, something simple, but it's something you check on every morning. Tend to the plants, make sure they have enough water, trim the ones that you may want to use to make a meal that day. And so, whatever seems really enticing and causes you a little bit of intrigue, I encourage you to start with those things. Start with something that sounds fun and exciting, has a little bit of adventure to it, maybe. And kind of combined with this one is a challenge. Challenge yourself to try something new. Maybe it's take a new class. Maybe you always go to yoga class, maybe try a different group fitness class. If you always go to classes, maybe it's head out to that gym floor and see if there's something there. Maybe it's even adding in working out with a friend or something. But these things can really help to make the process fun as we move through it. And then the final thing is compassion. Being compassionate with ourselves as we embark on this journey of recreating our routine. It takes some time, and it may take a few weeks for us to find exactly the things that are going to make that difference that we're looking for. We may try one or two that don't end up working out, and that's okay. We'll toss those aside and try something else. Or it may just take a little bit of time for us to replace enough elements that we feel revitalized and refreshed by our routine, and it keeps us motivated and ready and excited to meet the day and those routines. All right, dragonflies, that's what I have for you today. What I want to know is what element in your routine would you like to replace? And what's got your curiosity? What might you replace it with? All right, some upcoming events I want to tell you guys about. I'm leading some online yoga teacher trainings. Ayurveda 1, which discusses all of the basics of Ayurveda, body types, and all of that good stuff. That's happening April 30th and May 1st. I'll put a link in the description down below. Then Ayurveda 2, immediately after that, May 2nd and 3rd, and also a link for that one below. And I have a workshop coming up, Something About Self-Compassion. I love this title because when we start considering being compassionate to ourselves, sometimes we think, oh, yeah, I don't know, something about self compassion. I don't know what to do. And so this explores self compassion kind of from the get go. What are the elements of self compassion? And then how do I start to take that compassion and turn it inward? That is going to be on Thursday, May 12th at 6:30. There are two options for this one, either live in person at Journey Beyond in Scottsdale. I'll put a link to that below as well. And you can also join me for this one online, same day, same time, Thursday, May 12th at 6:30 Pacific time. And you can register for either variation, whichever works best for you. I'd love to see you there. And then, sort of an expanded follow up to that workshop is a 6-week series called Fierce Compassion. And we are going to really get in there and talk about how to have that deep, fierce compassion for ourselves first, because that's where we have to practice it, so that then we can also have that same compassion for the people in our lives. That is going to be on Tuesdays at 6:30 starting May 24th. Also, same options at Journey Beyond or online. Link in the description below. And then finally, restorative teacher training. This one is on 2 consecutive weekends, Saturday and Sunday, May 14th and 15th, and May 21st and 22nd. I'm super excited to offer all of these. If you have questions, you can pop them in the description down below, or you can email me. I'll stick my email address in this description as well. But that's it for today, dragonflies. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.